All right, welcome back to the second video where we talk about how to solve for a variable with equations. So it's really important if you haven't watched the first video that you go back, because we're not really going to spend a lot of time explaining things like what's the variable, what does the equal sign mean, and stuff like that. So what we're going to do here is kind of take it to the next step of how you're going to practice doing this, okay? And again, these videos are a lot for like special education, things like that, and really helping students that struggle with the steps. It really breaks it down, and this is how you're going to practice every single day in solving these. So first thing you're going to do, again, remember we talked about the operation. Operations are like subtraction. Here we've got subtraction, and we've got addition. And then remember, this is division. And when we have a coefficient next to a variable, then there's a little multiplication, invisible multiplication signs. We've got multiplication. So the first thing we have to do in order to isolate the variable is figure out what operation is going on. And we talked about that in the last video, but here's how I want you to practice implementing it, okay? So what you'll do is on top of every single problem, I want you to say, okay, what is the operation that's going on? Here, this operation we know is subtraction. I'm going to put a subtraction sign on top of this. And now I'm going to go to the next one. What is the operation happening here? And again, the operation we're looking at is the operation happening between the variable and the number. Okay, here the variable was k and the number was -5. So we've got the subtraction going on. What operation is happening here? Well, here's the variable, and what's happening to the variable? It's being added to. So I'm going to write a plus sign above that, okay? Next, what's the next one? Here, you've got b over 2 equals 5. What's the operation happening here? Well, what's happening to b? b is being divided by 2. Again, remember, fractions are division. So b is being divided by 2. So I'm going to put a division sign above it, okay? Now I'm going to jump over here. What is the operation happening here? Here's a common mistake I see a lot of students make. They'll say, oh, it's subtraction. No, because we're looking at what's happening to the variable. Does this negative sign have anything to do with this variable over here? No, it does not, okay? The negative sign is in regards to this, which is way far away from the variable. What we want to look at is what's happening to the variable. What operation is happening to the variable? And if you're saying it's multiplication, you're right, because there's a little multiplication dot right there. So we're going to put a little multiplication dot up here because we know that we want to know that, oh, multiplication's what is happening here, okay? Next, look at this one. What's the operation? It's plus. So when you're giving these worksheets, the first step I want you to do is go to every single one and write down what operation is happening above it, okay? Next, I want you, so let's look at this last one here. What's the operation? Again, what's happening to y? It's addition. So I'm going to put a plus sign here, okay? Next, now that we've done that, what I want you to do is come and do the inverse operation. This is the easiest part ever, okay? What's the inverse operation of subtraction? It's addition. So we're going to write addition below it, a plus sign. My handwriting is horrible. Okay, then we've got a plus sign here, and the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. The inverse operation of division is multiplication. Putting the dot there. Inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm putting the division sign there. Inverse operation of addition is subtraction. And again, addition, inverse operation is subtraction. So now this is the second step. So easy so far, so easy. So how do we isolate a variable, which is what we have to do in order to solve for it? Well, if you remember, we use the inverse operation to solve for the variable. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use addition because that's the inverse operation, the IV, okay? Now, what do we have to get rid of on this side so that k is by itself? A lot of students might say, oh, it's 12. No, 12 is not by k. The variable's k. What do we have to get rid of so k is all by itself on this side and all the numbers are over here? Well, we got to get rid of, and some students might say, oh, we got to get rid of 5. No, get rid of the negative 5, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add 5, okay? So that's the inverse operation. So what do we need to get rid of? We need to get rid of this 5 here, okay? So if we have a negative 5, if we add 5 to it, and remember immediately, if we're going to add on this side, the pants are on fire of the equal sign because it's lying to us. We got to immediately write a plus 5 over here, okay? So now we've got this negative 5 plus 5 and this positive 12 plus 5, okay? Because we added 5 to both sides, so this still remains equal. Its pants are no longer on fire. Everyone's safe, okay? So negative 5 plus 5 equals, if you don't know, it's 0, okay? So it's 0. And use a calculator to check it out. Then we've got positive 12 plus 5 equals 17, okay? So we bring down the k, and we've got k equals 17, okay? Piece of cake. So right here, we use the inverse operation, okay, which we knew was plus. So let's do it this way. Look at this one, okay? What do we have to get rid of so that z is all by itself? It's the 2. We need it to be all by itself on this side of the equation, and we need to put all the numbers over here. So we do that by, if we have right here it's plus, we're going to use the inverse operation, which is minus. What are we going to minus? We're going to minus the 2 because we got to get rid of the 2. So minus 2, and immediately this pants of the equal sign, their pants light on fire because they're all, I'm no longer telling the truth because you already subtracted 2 over here. So immediately after you write minus 2 here, you got to write it on the other side too before you forget. So now we got minus 2 over here, minus 2 over here. Let's go ahead and put it here and here. What is 2 minus 2? It's 0, and that's what we wanted it to be. And what is 7 minus 2? Well, it's 5. So now we have 5 equals z. Okay? Perfect. And we're going to come over here, cross out z, and put in 5 to see if that's the truth. 5 plus 2 equals 7. So, yep, our answer is correct. Okay. Again, what are we doing here? We already found out the inverse operation is what we have to use here, and it's multiplication because we wrote it down. What number do we have to get rid of over here? We got to get rid of the 2 so that b will be by itself, right? If we get rid of this 2, won't b be all by itself? It is. So we're going to multiply, because that's the inverse operation. We're going to multiply what we want to get rid of, which is the 2. So we're going to have 2. 2 multiplied by this, okay? And make that a fraction. And as we know with cross-canceling, cross that out, and now you just get a 1 down here. And immediately if we're multiplying, see, I almost forgot, because I'm multiplying by 2. This is on fire. My pants are on fire because I'm lying to you because it's no longer equal. So I got to hurry up and put a multiplied by 2 as well. Here, multiplying by 2. And here I'm multiplying by 2. So the fire goes out on the pants. They're no longer on fire. So 5 times 2 is 10. So now we've got b, right? B. And I don't have to write the 1 because 1s are invisible when they're next to a variable. So we've got b equals, and this became 10. So b equals 10. okay? So let's look at it. We'll go ahead and cross out in our original equation the b, and we'll put 10. So now we've got 10 over 2, which is 10 divided by 2 is 5. Yep. So my answer is correct. All right, let's look at this one, okay? We know the inverse operation is division, so we know that's what we're going to use to get h all by itself. What number do we need to get rid of so that h will be all by itself on this side of the equal sign? It's the 5. So I'm going to divide by 5. Divide by 5. Oh my gosh, the pants of the equal sign are on fire because it's a lie. So hurry up, right? Divided by 5 as well, okay? So now we've got 5h divided by 5, negative 30 divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so that becomes a 1. And negative 30 divided by 5 equals negative 6. So now negative 6 equals h, okay? Use your calculator. Pause the video and use your calculator so you can go through these, okay? So we went through all 4 operations now. I want you to come back or I want you to go do these real quick and see if you can figure it out based on what we've done, okay? Go ahead and pause it. All right, now that you're back, it's easy peasy. Inverse operation is what we're going to use, and we need to get rid of the 3 so that ends by itself. So we're going to subtract 3. You got to hurry up and subtract 3 over here as well so that the pants are no longer on fire of the equal sign. So 3 minus 3 is 0. 8 minus 3 is 5. So now we've got 5 equals n. We don't have to write n plus 0 because that is already, it's just no purpose. So we've got n, or 5 equals n, or n equals 5. Now let's check it out. I'm going to cross out the n, put in 5, check our work. 5 plus 3 equals 8. Yes, that's true. Good. Lastly, again, subtraction is the inverse operation. We need to get rid of the 5. So minus 5, and hurry up, minus 5 so that the pants stop burning on the equal sign so that it stays the same. Okay, so 5 minus 5 is 0, and 11 minus 5 equals 6. So I have 6 equals y. Let's check our answer. Cross out the 6, or the y, put 6. So is 6 plus 5 11? Yep. So here we go. That's how I want you to practice these worksheets every single day. All right, so we're just going to go over the steps real fast. First thing is identify the operation. When we're looking at this, the operation is addition, so we write the addition here. Then after that, we write the inverse operation of addition. The inverse operation is minus, so we do that. Then we use the minus sign, which is the inverse operation, to get rid of the number that we need to get rid of so that z will be by itself on this side of the equal sign. We know that number's 2, so we're going to subtract 2. We hurry up, subtract the 2 over here on both sides so that the pants aren't on fire for the equal sign. We take 2 minus 2 equals 0, and 7 minus 2 equals 5. So now we have 5 equals 0 plus z. We no longer need to write the plus or the 0 plus, so we've got 5 equals z. That's the step. And I know that if I cross out the z and put 5, got 5 plus 2 equals 7. Those are your steps. Write them down. And one last final thing before we go. We talked about how a fraction equals division, okay? But we also talked about the operation is whatever is happening to the variable, okay? What's happening to this variable? It is being divided by. So that's the operation we care about, okay? Here we've got a negative 48, right? But is this negative doing anything to the variable? It's not. So that's why this operation isn't subtraction. What's happening to the variable? It's being multiplied. So that's when we write the multiplication up here. So b over 2, it's division. So look at this one, okay? We have a fraction right here. Now you might say, oh, that means it's division. It's not division because what's happening to the variable? What operation is happening to the variable? It's subtraction, right? When we look over here, b is part of the fraction. That's why it's division here. But here, the variable has nothing to do with this fraction other than this fraction's being subtracted from the variable. So when trying to figure out what operation it is, we look at what operation is happening to the variable, okay? So this one, subtraction. This one, division. This one, subtraction. This one, division. Subtraction, division. Subtraction, division. Addition, division. Addition, division. Have a great one, you guys. Shout out to mathaids.com. They provide the best, easiest to use worksheets ever. I suggest grabbing your worksheets from them and working on them just as I told you.